histograms. So, histograms. I love these things, even though they are a bit much sometimes. So, histograms. Focus. There we go. Histograms show data in blank or ranges. This is going to be intervals. Think inaccurate bar graphs. Think bar graphs that have like ranges or spreads inside of them. So they're similar to bar graphs, but each bar touches the other and are similar to a dot plot because they represent the overall blank and blank of the data. They're going to represent the overall spread and symmetry. So example, I do not know why they have that there. That doesn't. I really have no idea what they are trying to get us to put there. So I'm just gonna squiggle line that out. Data from the national ACT exams are off to the right. How many scores were included in the data set? What I should point out is usually histograms are not going to have exact amounts. This, as you can plainly tell, is really hard to see. So list the number of scores for each range. 0 or 1 to 5. That's going to be, I think that's at a 2. I'm going to say 2. 6 to 10 is also at a 2. 11 to 15, that looks like it's at 17. 16 to 20, that looks like maybe 34. 21 to 25. Oh, that's very close. I'm going to say 28? Yeah, we'll go with 28. And then 26 to 30. Is that 11? No. Don't be ridiculous. That's 16. And then 31 to 35. That'd be 3, I think. So, I don't like a lot of these, and there's a reason that you only get one page of this, which is that a lot of this was asking about percentages. That's a bit advanced. For this, it's okay, because unless I'm mistaken, those numbers will add up to 100. So 17% is going to equal exactly 17. So it doesn't matter for this one. This is actually going to be just me going over this page a little bit, and then carrying on for the rest of this by showing you how to make a histogram. Which range of scores represents 17 of the data? Well, be 11 to 15, wouldn't it, huh? What percent of the data are included in the 21 to 25 range? It's about 28%. I'm not going to write this down. If you're watching and paying attention, you'll be okay, but these are the questions I want you to type in your answers to, so I don't want it to be obvious that I'm giving you the answers for it. Number 3, what two ACT score ranges make up more than 60%? So there are 2 that you could combine to give you more than 60%. You can figure that one out. And matter of fact, you can figure out the rest of this whole worksheet on your own. This worksheet itself is not terribly difficult, but I wanted to take a moment to show you how you would actually make a histogram. I was playing a little fishing game, like a just silly little game. You'll see it. It's going to be at the end of this assignment, but one of the times I played it, I caught fish that were these sizes. These were their sizes in inches. I've already converted them from centimeters to inches by dividing by 2.5. That's about how many centimeters are in an inch. So I've taken my data and I've gathered it here. All I'm going to do now is decide, based on these numbers, I have to go from 16 is my lowest, and I have to go to, it looks like 28 is my largest. So I have to look at this and decide, all right, what intervals do I want to use? You don't have to start at 0, is the misconception a lot of people have. but we're going to make a frequency or interval table. Interval table. An interval table is just something that is used to gather and organize data before creating a histogram. Histograms are actually a bit more in-depth than this worksheet led on. So step 1, we're going to decide our intervals. From 16 to 28, that's going to be 12 numbers. So if I count by intervals of, let's say 4, that could work. Intervals of 5 might be a little too big. Intervals of 10 would be just ridiculous. A good rule of thumb is you want to have 4 or more sections when dealing with intervals. So I'm going to go ahead and count, but I'll start at, let's see, if I start at 15 and go to 30, counting intervals of 3, I think that might be a good one. Let's go ahead and give that a shot. So 15 to 18. So let's see. 15, 16, 17, 18. Ooh, no, I messed up. That's going to be a set of 4. Too late, I've already written it. So my interval is going to be off to my left. My data is going to be off to the right. My tallies will be over here. So another important thing, you've heard me say it in our warm-ups before, but your intervals can never cross. So if this one ends at 18, I need to start at 19. So 19, I need to include 4 numbers, so 19, 20, 21, 22 is the number I need to go to. Next interval will go from 23, 23, 24, 25, 26. And my last interval will go from 27 to, we don't want to say 28. Yes, that's where my data ends, but we need to make sure that we conclude this by following the pattern. So 27, 28, 29, 30. And this is all that we need. I would have really liked to have this interval table a bit better, though. I'm gonna redo it. I shouldn't, but I'm gonna redo it. Redo. I'm gonna redo it. You can't stop me. So I'm gonna redo it, and I'm gonna go from, this time I'll do 1 less each time. I'll go from 15 to 17, and then 18 to 20, or is that 21? 18, 19, 20. Nope, 20. And I'm going to go from 21 to 20, I think 3. Now we'll go to 24 to 26, and then 27 to 29. That's a bit better. I prefer having 5 bars a lot more. It just looks like more effort went in. So now, once we have our interval chart ready, we're going to take our data from our fish and tally it up. How many fish were between 15 and 17 inches? We've got 1, just 1. How many fish were between 18 and 20 inches? We've got 1, 2. We've got 2. How many fish were between 21 and 23? Again, just 1. How many fish were between 24 and 26 inches? We've got 1, just 1. How many fish were between 27 and 29 inches? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. A lot of big fish that time. Goodness. So, this is our interval table. Interval table. And we should really label this. This would be inches, and this would be number of fish. Now we're going to make our histogram. We're going to start by just drawing an X and Y axis. We're just going to draw a regular 1 quadrant graph, like so. We need a title for it. Histograms should have titles. So we will call this sizes of bass. That's the type of fish I think that I was catching in the game. So size of bass. Yay. So down here, this is where my intervals are going to go. Where intervals go, those numbers, we said they were inches. So these are size in inches. That's what this bottom section is going to represent. Now, the side sections, these are going to be the number of fish. Number of fish. Now, it looks like we only have to go up to 4, so we don't have to make this one very high. So, I can spread these bars out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because I don't have to go any higher than that. Interval 1 is going to be, this was 15 to 17. Interval 2 was 18 to 20. Then it was 21 to 23. 24 to 26. And then, almost out of space, 27, I forgot how numbers work, to 29. And then we're just going to go ahead and draw our bars. This first one, for example, only goes up to 1, according to our interval table. Let me actually move that a bit higher so you can see my interval table too. My second bar is going to go up to 2. So that goes up here. Not going to waste time by coloring in all of that. My third bar goes up to 1. And my fourth bar goes up to 1 as well. And my final bar is going to go all the way up to 4. So looking at this histogram, we would say that my data has been skewed to the right. And we would call this fish maybe an outlier. We would say perhaps there are outliers. Maybe most of the fish in this area are very large and healthy. Or we could make the opposite effect, and we could say some of those fish, they might be eating things they shouldn't. Maybe that's why they got so big. Maybe it's a very unhealthy population. Maybe this is an area people don't go fishing very often. Maybe that's why all the fish are so big, that nobody's catching them, and the fish are growing because nobody is catching them. They're not getting injured. They're living a long time. So we could make any one of those conclusions based on this data. And that's what these histograms are for. These histograms are good for summaries. They're good for making general observations. You can't really tell anybody anything specific about this. You can't tell anybody what the mean or median would be. You can just tell them where the mean or median could be based on these ranges. And that's all there is for histograms. Doesn't get as much attention as they should. I think that they're good, and they're kind of fun to make because you can play around with the intervals. So yeah. That's it for that. I just wanted to make sure I touched on those interval tables and touched on making a histogram because this worksheet didn't do a very good job of telling you how they are made. And I wanted to make sure that you knew that. That is all for part 3. Now, moving on to part 4.